Let the dragon consume you! Enemy sighted. Stop the payload! Stop the payload! In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The Birdwatcher's back at it one more time. Here's your host, Ryan and Clay. They're about to bring you some sweet Overwatch action.
All right, yeah, we are back, and we just finished a pretty solid week of Overwatch League. Week 3, right, Ryan?
Yeah, man. It's almost all over.
Yeah, 2 weeks left, man, until we get some playoff action. First playoffs we're seeing out of Overwatch League, so like the highest Overwatch we can get, man. Not contenders, not any of the small stuff. This is going to be some big deal stuff.
Yeah, and I'm getting to that point where I'm getting kind of sad as we get closer because, like, especially doing the show, right? Like, it's so compact, and there are times where we have that week off, but this is it. We're coming up on the end here. We have to wait till next year for it's like when football season ends, and I'm just fuck. Right. Yeah,
it was crazy because I was thinking about it last episode. I was like, oh yeah, we got another month of this left. And it's like, well, we really don't have another month left. Yeah. We have 2 more weeks, and then we got a week or so of playoffs. But we'll get some All-Star game stuff.
Yes. And then we have Worlds right after.
Yeah, we got the Worlds pretty soon after there. So.
And then we have contenders in the off season, right?
Yeah, got some contender stuff, and I'm sure there's some tournaments and other things we'll talk about. Always going to be news. Always some Overwatch drama.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, as long as XUC is still streaming, man, we got some stuff to talk about. I don't think we have much news this week. We have a little bit, I'm sure.
Yeah, the only thing I had to mention was this week, and this might be something I just haven't noticed because of how I go through videos, but the league started showing usage percentage for certain teams.
Yeah.
So on the actual cast, they usually try different types of media things, like where they show the percentage of wins on maps and X, Y, and Z. But now they're showing like, oh, okay, well, even with like Dallas Fuel, how they're known to be different from the rest of the league as far as their picks, they show the percentage versus the league, and I think that's really cool stats that they're making visible that I'm enjoying. So that's just
absolutely. I think we got to see our second Torbjorn, right? So what was in the New York map, he went and placed a turret and then run all the way back to his spawn and then changed. But yeah, so besides Jake, that was our second Torbjorn. Still no
Jake the trendsetter.
Still no Symmetra, I think, right? So just spawn play by Muma only. So
not since then.
So do you want to hop into some games?
Yeah, let's do this.
Sweet. So we start off Wednesday where we see New York play against Philly. Philly I don't know, rough week for Philly because they also drop a game, I think, later in the week to, who did Philly drop a game to? To Los Angeles. But yes, to start off that Wednesday, losing 4-0 to New York.
Yeah.
And then who else we got? Seoul versus Shanghai. Seoul just pretty dominant 4-0 map there. And then we get another battle for Los Angeles. This is our second or third one? Fourth one.
Yeah, man.
Okay, I knew we were at least at 2, but jeez. Yeah, okay, so 12 teams, I guess, over the course of 4 stages, we're going to see them play at least once. Yeah,
and they've all been really good.
Yeah. These are awesome. Just because not only the team's great, just the crowd is hype and just a lot of high skill level. I mean, it was, if you look at it at a glance, it looked like it was one-sided. Not really. All close maps. So let's get into Blizzard World is where we started off. And just going forward, Los Angeles, they started us off on offense. We see Agilities kind of do what he does best and starts us off with a quick blade. Probably one of the guys that gets a blade quicker than anybody in the league.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty
next to AKM. I mean, AKM also is right there. Crazy fast blades from Agilities.
What's funny? Watching Agilities, because everybody remembers the In-N-Out burger.
Yeah.
But It's one of those cases where that's one thing that CEO nailed on the head was seeing Agility's potential. When they brought that other coach in, he saw the potential. Like, everybody saw his potential, and now he's getting to that point.
Yeah.
And he has, like, his ceiling for skill. It's pretty up there.
Right. And I think a lot of these guys, man, they all have the mechanical skill. I'm not saying the burger gave him confidence. I'm not saying anything, but it is a confidence thing. And a lot of times when I get into comp and I can tell if I'm having a bad day, I won't say anything when I get in there. And then, some people are a little snide, a little snarky. I'll get in there, I'll hype the crowd up. And by the crowd, I mean this 5 other guys on the team, 2 of them which have a mic. But yeah,
exactly.
So I'll try to hype him up, and it really does come down to a confidence level. And he's looking a lot more confident, right? Yeah. He's doing things that we didn't see in the early stages, where he's playing really aggressive in some of these spots, especially on not only the Genji but the Brigida. But yeah, so on Blizzard World, gets his ult real quick. Then we get into point 2, which is a weird kind of setup, right? It just all these angles is really a sniper's paradise, because they can get into these angles where they can come over the top, especially if you're a Widow where you got the grappling, you're hooking over the top. Soon goes 3 for 3 on Surfer, which is you got to get warmed up in the back there, Surfer, because Soon's taking heads off.
Soon's ready, man. Like his Widow is reaching where his Tracer was. As far as consistency.
Oh, yeah. And the few times the humble brags I played with him, he played McCree and Widow, and, dude, unreal how good he is at hit scan. But we always saw him on Tracer the first couple stages. We didn't get to see a lot of his hit scan stuff. And he expressed this in an interview that he likes to get out and play other heroes. Right? Okay. So
that's good to hear, because he's not. It's, obviously he's a crowd favorite. People like Soon.
Yeah. Sounds like they're booing.
Yeah. Like when they say Soon or Goose.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where, like, it's impressive because he's more of a quiet personality.
Yeah.
But when it comes to those players that stand out, like if you had MVP discussions outside of Jonak, he could be up there as far as being valuable, very valuable, and that can continue into seasons in the future, and it will continue.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That. Yeah. We didn't mention that those votes are out there now. So if you get a chance, man, go out and vote. Yeah. That they're all different categories, not only support. You got DPS, you got tanks, all over the board. So
I need to get my votes together.
Yeah, man, I'm thinking long. I started the other day, and I was like, man, I'm not in the right frame of mind. I got to really think about this.
So wait, is Jonak up for both support and DPS?
Yeah, and tank.
And tank.
You seen that dude?
With the new Brogan changes?
You get the Brogan armor. He's right there in front, man.
What is it? It's 350 on the
Yeah, 350. Yeah, and those glasses kind of act like a shield.
Exactly.
They're big. Yeah. But yeah, so LA gets to point 1 and 2 pretty quickly. Both teams switch over to the Rhine, which I like it because, and we were talking about before the cast, Brogan has really kind of opened us up, right?
Yes.
Like you were mentioning, to a different play style where a lot of these teams would have probably stayed on the Winston Diva throughout the entire map. Both teams forced over to the Rhine. It was pretty cool because we get to see Agility switch over to the Brogan. Get a sweet stun shatter combo. Just set it up real perfect for them.
Yes, that was really nice.
And that they get it in overtime. I think they have no time left on the clock, leaving it to Los Angeles Gladiators to get through all 3 points and have some time left.
Yes.
So yeah, we get over to the Glad's offense, where we see Hydration really just put in some work. I think he starts off on the Pharah against the Soon Widow, which is big old cojones on that man's side. And yeah, it gets point 1 pretty quick. They switch to the Rhine Zarya real quick, which is awesome through those streets, because if you can get behind that shield, and a lot of people, and you see these later on going in these maps, and I see it on the ladder all the time, they're like, well, if they are playing a Widow, we need to switch to something that's going to combat the Widow, and a lot of people think that's 2 dive tanks. And sometimes it's just having a big-ass shield in front of you.
Exactly.
And I don't know what people think. It's like, well, you're putting your tank at risk when they have to dive. Just put up this 2,000 HP shield that you can get behind with the cart, and that works as well.
Yeah, and part of that is that if you do go the shield, it's about committing to one or the other, right? Like,
yeah,
if you want to do the dive, but don't split the difference, because when you do have the shield, toss the Brogan in there. If you have a Zarya as well, it's one of those cases where now you have enough disruption between those fires, the shots. Because what is it, 3 seconds? No. How long is it between each charge or 100% charge?
Are you talking about on Zarya?
Widow.
Oh, and Widow. Yeah, it's about 2 seconds, 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, like 1.5 seconds. That's plenty of time to, constantly either put up a shield or a bubble or notice, oh, I got shot once. So unless it's a headshot, which is nothing you can really do about that anyways, I think you're onto something, with the shields. I mean, same thing with like Ana, right? Ana's a sniper, put up shields, now it's difficult.
Yeah, yep. And, it just... you have to either get picks around the shield, which is really difficult, and especially because we see a lot of Widows now, just a lot of teams playing both Widows, so that Widow also just has to worry about getting shot from someone else. So put up a shield, get through the point, and that's exactly what Los Angeles Gladiators do. They get through all 3 points, got 2 minutes left, so it gives them the opportunity to win map 1. Soon comes alive. On the defense.
This was cool to watch.
Unreal, because he gets pick after pick, and that just delays you so much, because this is like, we talk about this in the last couple. This is almost like Numbani, right? Where defensive and offensive, what's the word I'm looking for? Advantage is almost the same.
Yes.
You're running back from the same points. So it comes down to the last minute, and no one wins. I mean, we get a draw here on kind of the back of Soon.
We haven't had one of those in a long time. And, you mentioned Soon coming alive. And the thing is, they have about 3 attempts, right?
Yeah.
In those 2 minutes. And 2 of those, he gets very crucial picks that essentially nullify those fights.
Right.
And they have to reset and everything like that. So it's like the London Spitfire, especially the early version of London Spitfires. Like, they wouldn't fight a lot of straight up fights. They would pick a person here, and then you can't. It's so uneven that it always falls in their favor. So that was cool to see. I like to see Soon performing like this, and he's getting hype now on camera. If you look on camera, you can see the fire in his eyes.
Oh yeah, and we'll get into it later in this week. But man, he pretty emotional, unlike I had ever seen him. Really. Yeah. Slapping 5. Oh, is that what the kids are calling it? Slapping skin. I don't know.
Slapping 5. Yeah. Kids are gonna start calling it now.
Yeah. I'm a trendsetter. Man. That's what it is. Yeah. My old age, I come up with these sweet memes. Yeah. But yeah, so we end the map Blizzard World with a draw.
Yes.
Which pretty hard fought fight.
Crowd is nuts. This is when you have the hypest crowd. Is this match?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because it's crazy because, I did want to bring up, we have a sold-out crowd for New York, the finals, the playoffs, right? So that'll be, I can imagine that being a sweet.
Insane.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
I can't imagine what they're going to pull off, too, because Blizzard has something up their sleeve for, we're making this change to our studio, we're adding some new things, or, here's some announcements. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be sweet. So yeah, we get into Horizon Lunar Colony, just another beautiful map. Man, where are the changes?
Are they on the PTR yet?
I don't even think they're on the PTR.
Okay, so they're still
maybe they are on the PTR. I don't know. I haven't hopped on the PTR since Hanzo came out.
I know they're the Hanzo changes, so they're probably still in design.
Yeah. So we start off with Los Angeles Valiant started us off.
Yes.
With triple DPS. Yeah, taking the Glads off guard, because we see Kareev kind of melding back into his old skin there, right? We get to see him on the Widow, and it really does catch him off guard, because I don't think maybe you get Soon on the Widow on this map, but the fact that Soon is pestering the back line on Tracer, hopping on that point, it really takes them back, because they have to hop back there, leaves all that space for Widow to kind of run wild with it, and they take point 1 really quick.
Yeah, they have 6 minutes left or some stuff.
Yeah, just unreal. Man, I hate seeing that on defense. You know what I mean? You're on point two.
Yeah.
You're like, you try to tell your team, we still got this, guys. We still got it. It's like, no, we don't got it. They've got 6.5 minutes unless we do some crazy shit.
It's the definition of momentum, right? It's something that, hey, if they can play this well, we can play as well. But
Yeah.
it's just so disheartening to see so much time because you know how many fights that's going to be.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So yeah, they pretty much are snowballing towards point two. Agility, it's like I said, quick blade guy. He's
So
farming
good at
really
getting
quick,
blades, man.
Oh, dude.
Ultimates in general, any character he plays.
Yeah. I like the fact that he's very aggressive, and he knows that if he gets this blade before Shaz gets his transcendence, that he can really run wild with it, and he does. He runs wild with it. He gets a quick 3K blade right off the top, running right onto the point, and they only get 2 ticks because this map is shit, and the defenders can run right back out. No, it's kind of cool to see sometimes the defenders able to not just get straight ran over.
Yeah,
they're able to take it back over.
I like that variant because I remember we have 20 maps, right?
Yeah,
and a lot of people who've played this game as their first competitive shooter and haven't played the days of the Halo 1, Halo 2, Unreal Tournament. 20 maps back then was insane, and a lot of people complain, "Oh, I wish we had more maps." It's like, no, they're doing a great job with the variants they have. And this is one variant where you do have the defensive-centric maps.
Absolutely. I remember playing Counter-Strike, and you got 5 maps in a season.
I mean,
5 maps.
League of Legends is one map.
Yeah. That game's been out forever.
10 years plus.
Yeah, it's crazy,
crazy.
dude. Yeah.
We'll get there. Overwatch will get there.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so Agilities opens it up for two ticks.
Yeah.
Glad's able to recuperate a little bit. But soon, still just kind of on a tear on the Widow, able to take out Surefour before he takes him out. And that kind of opens it up, right? Just 5v6. They get on the point really quick and just take point 2.
Yeah, and that, one thing to mention is after that first 2 ticks, he has a blade ready for the next fight.
Yeah, right off the bat.
So insane.
Yeah. So we get into the Glad's offense, and we get to see big tanks come out of Glad's.
Yeah.
They do the big tank. I think they do the triple tank, triple support, which is kind of getting trendy here. It's like record players in East Nashville.
Yeah, the only other team I know that's doing it right now is Dynasty as well.
Yeah, and they're kind of known for that kind of the real heavy defensive style. It's cool to see. Just a lot of HP, and it's really difficult for Widows, to try to take out these big tanks unless you're picking off your Zenyatta, your Mercy, or something like that. It's really hard to kill.
Exactly what Soon does.
Yeah.
He kills Shaz every fucking time.
Oh, dude, it's insane. Well, because Shaz is on. What is Shaz on? He's on Zenyatta, right?
No, he's playing what's her name? Moira.
Oh yeah, so he's playing Moira. Oh yes, because he gets 2 really quick picks on her.
Yes.
And it slows him down quite a bit.
Because Deathball you can't afford to get picked because there's not a case where you're doing dive where you can do a counter pick. Or something like that. Yeah. Your ball has to stay together. You pick a piece out of that, and it all falls apart. Especially the person that's supposed to be doing the majority of the healing.
Yeah, and the fact that if there's no Diva on the other side, Shaz is probably a lot of the damage, too, if you get that ball going in there.
Yeah.
I think the only way Gladiators get this point is they invest a ton of ultimates into it. So they...
Because they have to grab bomb in order to get it.
Right. So they do end up getting point 2, right? They just don't do it with any time left.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So they do get all 3 points. So they are able to run it back on the second part. But the time investment that Los Angeles Valiant has is just so much more, right? So they get a quick dive 1.1 on their second attack, and then get picks 0.2. Soon takes out Hydration really quick on 0.1, and that's pretty much their only DPS. So they just able to get all 4 points, in Los Angeles Gladiators only able to get 3.
Yeah.
So
It's tough. It's tough. Los Angeles Valiant looking really good here, especially agilities. Agilities, like this is how he needs to play for the rest of the season.
yeah, absolutely.
Because this is high level Overwatch right here.
Yeah, definitely.
The only thing, like when it comes to like building alts, I think the only person I think of that builds them as fast as he does is probably OGE. Like from the tank perspective,
Yeah.
OGE builds alts so fast it makes no sense. The man is constantly in primo mode. Like it's things like that having that advantage of the ultimate is something that's valued, and they know how to get it very quickly and very effectively. Use it to just constantly throw a wrench in whatever the other team's trying to do. Ultimates are powerful for a reason. So the more you can have them, the better your chances, right?
Yeah. I like the fact that OGE too is when he uses ultimate, he's using it very like progressively and proactively. He's trying to create space and stuff like that. Different team, different player, but just something to point out. He's when you're seeing him primal rage and stuff like that, man, he's widening this gap between his DPS and their healers as well.
Yeah.
So we get into Oasis, our third map. Map 1, I think
This is the map of the match.
Yeah, this is a sweet map actually too. Especially when they get to University, man. It's a fucking shit show of barrages and grabs, and it's a cool map to watch.
Chat was having a good time with this one.
Yeah, absolutely. But so map 1, we start off Valiant able to get it to 99.
Yeah,
Really quick. Soon starts us off on the Tracer. Gladiators. Notoriously now one of those teams that's easily going to swap over to Brogan. God, I got to get used to that, man. It's crazy because the commentators all call her something different, and we're calling her something different. And so Brogan is our we're coining that.
Yeah, we've adopted that. I forgot which one of the casters called her Brogan as a joke, and I was like, "Yep, that's it now."
Yeah, that's easy. That's easy for us to remember
easy.
for sure. But yeah, so they get it to 99, and so he switches over to the McCree, which isn't a terrible pick against Brogan.
Yeah.
But he keeps putting himself on the outside near the Mega, and the Gladiators tanks are like, hey, dude, he's right there. He's just hop on him right there. So soon dies 2 or 3 times in the same spot, just getting really no help, or just putting himself in a bad spot because you don't want to come inside on the McCree, especially, what is that map with the bridge called? I can't even remember what these things are.
The bridge?
The first map they played, it's got the ocean side. You can get boofed off on that one side only.
Oh, man.
It's on Oasis. I just can't ever remember the name of the first map. Regardless.
Okay.
It's got that It's got that big
Gardens.
Yeah, Gardens, right.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's got Gardens in there. I'm stupid. It's hard for a McCree to get inside on there because you want to be up top.
Yeah.
I don't know. We see Houston do this a lot, right? We see Houston
when Linkster hops on McCree.
Yeah, and it never really works. I mean, sometimes we see some teams pull it off. It's hard for him. Too many small spaces. He gets hopped on real quick. So yeah, he gets punished over and over on the McCree, and Glad's get map 1. So it's kind of a turnaround spot for them. Like this is the time to pick it back up. But map 2, we kind of see agilities really come alive, and we also see
Hydration respond.
Yeah, as well. Both playing kind of a mirror comp, right? We get to see Zarya's, we get to see Farah.
2 McCrees.
2 McCrees as well. Because Surefour, he was playing the McCree on that map as well. But man, it really does come down to a 99 on this one.
Yeah, so I'm going to go through it real quick. Because this is the chain of events, and chat was absurd at this point. The crowd was going crazy. So how we start out is you have Hydration get a 3K rocket to flip the point when Los Angeles Valiant about 46%. And then immediately the next fight, Agilities follows with a 3K rocket. But he does his right when Fissure does his shatter animation. So Fissure loses his shatter.
Yeah.
Right? And they flip it when Los Angeles Gladiators are at 48%. And then Hydration comes back, does another 3K rocket, flips it at 93%, And then Agilities comes back and does the same thing at Los Angeles Gladiators at 92%. And that's, you just pretty much get to like a 99. And Agilities then swaps to Doomfist, which throws a wrench into everything and just closes out the round. It's very, very good round.
Yeah, if you get a chance, definitely watch this, because I don't know if you've ever played against a good Zarya and Pharah that are coordinating really well in these bubbles.
Oh, yes.
Just is talking to the folks out there. It is so irritating. You're like, oh, cool. Because generally as a Pharah, if you don't have a Zarya, you're gonna be sacrificed, right? Yeah. You're throwing your body out there for a 2-for-1 a lot of times. If you can, a 3-for-1. But when you have a good Zarya, and both these teams do, and Void, not a lot of practice on the Zarya, especially in the last week or so.
Yeah.
He throwing these bubbles out to Hydration. Hydration, I think, is a better Pharah than Agilities.
Really?
Okay. Because going into the league, Hydration, that's notoriously what he was known for. Doomfist, Pharah. He played those two characters. He later adopted the Genji and the Junkrat.
Yeah.
But he was known for his Pharah play. And I watched him play quite a bit. Actually, Silk Thread, is he still on the Los Angeles? Yeah, so he was kind of the same hero pool as Hydration. They were kind of a mirror duo there. But Hydration, very good at Pharah. But man, they both just had these great bubbles while they were doing these things. It was crazy.
And that's something to be said, because now that you mentioned that, I feel like Agilities' play style of Pharah is inspired by Hydration.
Yeah.
And him picking up that character later in the season, to see him even be able to play on the same level of Hydration, even though Hydration has not been playing as much as we've seen them in previous stages.
Yep.
Very impressive here. Like, because the fact that, that list of events I just went through, that can only happen if you're doing well.
Right.
Because you don't usually have that often on both sides. So that shows you that both sides are playing well. To be able to create these situations you wouldn't see else otherwise. Yeah,
absolutely. So Los Angeles Valiant. Man, it's so weird saying Los Angeles before everyone, because obviously it's the Battle of Los Angeles. But Valiant able to get map 2.
Yeah.
Then we get to a third map, which we are on the outside map with the big.
Oh no, sorry. City Center. City Center.
Yeah, City Center. Yeah. It's weird because these are all connected, but I've never seen them all pieced out like that. So I'm sure it looks cool.
Yeah.
And shit, man, this one was close.
It's so close.
It was insane. I think we got mirror comps out of these guys, right? We got both teams on the Brogan.
Yeah. At first, though, they had the Brogan comp, but Agilities was on Pharah, and then they swapped to mimic exactly what Gladiators were doing, because they lost that first point fight. So they pretty much gave up the air after that one.
Right. It's crazy, because if if one team has a Brogan, you can notice not only just the passive healing ability coming into effect. And Brogan not great against Pharah, but if the person playing it, like we've seen Jake, we've seen Sinatra, gets their ult really quickly, that armor is so beneficial.
Yeah.
It is so difficult for not only a Widow, but a Pharah to get the kills.
Yeah.
The splash damage is there, but the passive healing and the armor, almost too good. So,
I mean, it's a big reason that Zenyatta's already been in the meta, but the fact that Zarya's being played now is because of that amount of shield she has over that armor.
Oh, dude, she's so
and
fun.
Then she has her
to play
bubbles,
with that
right?
too.
So it's very hard to get to that armor that's being given. So you can sometimes get doubled up armor on that, and it gets out of hand.
Yeah.
Quick.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so, like I said, super close, but Valiant able to squeak this one out.
Mainly by killing Shaz, which is something that strategically most teams have figured out. If you can pick off Shaz, he's a big part of Gladiators.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we go up, and this is 2-1 at this point. No, this is 2-0. So,
yeah, because
Valiant is technically won the map at this point.
First one was
or the match, Yep. So we get into Dorado, where we get to see some more of the Agilities Pharah. He sets it up. It sets up point 1. Really, really odd placement for the Pharah, because he goes underneath You get under the bridge on Dorado on offense. You go underneath. As a Pharah player, I would have never thought to go here because you're like, well, shit, I can't fly. You're pretty much just like a shitty Junkrat at this point. But he sets up a barrage on Hydration, who is playing the Junkrat, and I think it was Shaz on. It's either Shaz or Big Goose. One of the supports, he sets up a big barrage on him. Yeah. And this opens up point one really quickly. Yeah. They jam through point 2. He switches over to a Doomfist at some point.
We see a lot of Doomfist this week.
Yeah, which is awesome because, and the commentators bring this up all the time, it is the coolest shit to watch. I don't care what character we're playing. Aside from McCree is really cool to watch, and Widow's cool to watch because you get these big picks. Doomfist is really sweet to watch, because he has this really quick, cool movement, and he can punch people into walls. Switches over to him point 2 and gets a bunch of kills. Sticks on it for a little while until Gladiator switch over to the Brogan. He switches over to the Brogan. Yeah, able to get point 3. Yep,
which is good. This is something that's kind of different from LA Valiant. LA Valiant is they're now adjusting to comps a lot faster, which we can see a lot of teams having trouble with this and being stubborn. They're not doing that at all. They're making sure that they're making the adjustments as they need.
Yeah, this is definitely it displays not only the fact that they got Custa, who is very vocal and probably very vocal about changes, but the coaching as well. They're probably saying, "Hey guys, don't be stubborn. Switch over to something that's going to work." So we get to. We get over to Los Angeles Gladiators offense where Soon is the only DPS on their push, and he's the only DPS against... he's playing the Widow. He's the only DPS against these big tanks, which it's really difficult to kill Roadhog, Zarya, Reinhardt, all these big tanks on these kind of things. It's a little strange, though, because they get point one really quickly. They kill, whatever's left of Los Angeles Valiant really quick, but they're so stubborn. They don't switch off this. It looks good going into point three, but once Soon is able to get these long sight lines, these picks on the support, the big tanks don't matter at that point because they're not putting out enough DPS. And they just never contest Soon. It's so hard when you're not having a diva or something like that to contest. And like we had brought up earlier, Reinhardt's fine. That's cool. But you still have to be able to put a little bit of damage on the team. They just never do it. So it's crazy. Not only that, Agility is in Fate. They've got this stun shatter combo down to a science. Yeah. We saw it on Blizzard World at the end of point three. They really coordinate on this. Really coordinate. They shatter them at the very end. Huge shatter. Yeah. So, cool to see. Gladiators only getting 2 points. So
it didn't matter because even with because when Los Angeles or Valiant finished, they only had 22 seconds, right? So it was kind of the case if they were able to move it through at the pace or keep that momentum, I think they would have been good. But they weren't. If you don't finish, it doesn't matter, right?
It's weird, right? Saying Los Angeles, even though both teams are Los Angeles.
Exactly, right?
I'm so confused.
I can't remember if this is 100% correct about this match, but I think this is the match that essentially secures Valiant's first seed, or at least puts them in a good position for
Pacific, right? Yeah, I think it does.
Which
obviously we know New York's got the Atlantic wrapped up.
Yes.
I think they have a 12 map win over even the second place person.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so I think this is what wraps it up. I'll have to check the math at some point. So yeah. So that brings us into Thursday, where we see not Los Angeles. Man, I keep saying Los Angeles.
It's because we said it 4 million times in the last 30 minutes.
So we get to see London play Boston. So Boston's still kind of in a rut. I didn't get to watch any of this. I kind of wish I did because later on this week, London kind of gets spanked. Kind of get beat up on by the Dallas, but we'll get into that later.
Oh, yeah.
So London taking this 2-1. Then we get into our Philadelphia Fusion and our Gladiators match, where Gladiators bring it back, take it 3-1. And our feature match for Thursday, San Francisco Shock, Dallas Fuel. And I picked this one. Oh, go ahead.
This is one of the ones I was looking forward to as well. But no, as I mentioned at the beginning in the news section, this is one of the ones they show us the hero usage for, right? Because Dallas Fuel, like we said, is known for having a variety of different choices when it comes to comps compared to other teams. So they break it down. So you have San Francisco Shock. Some of their usage stats are mainly so Genji, they use 28% versus the 15% of the league, right? Diva, they're still using it very heavily. We know they like dive, right? So they're at the 90% versus the rest of the league using about 75%. But one of the cool ones is they don't play Reinhardt at all. 9% of the time they pick Reinhardt versus 31% since the Brogan release, right? But stats like that, even the Zarya stat is super low for San Francisco. So it kind of shows you where the team is focused. And then we hop over to Dallas Fuel, and they're playing Brogan 71% of the time.
Oh yeah, yeah. They kind of found their niche, right? And are kind of running with it.
Yeah, they're playing Brogan 71% of the time versus 25% of the time of the league. But the other cool part is Tracer. Is they don't play Tracer at all.
No, they don't have anybody on the team that can.
Vex is gone.
Yeah. And these stat lines, not only cool for us, but they're probably pretty beneficial for the team you're playing, right? San Francisco's looking at this well, shit, we never have to worry about a Tracer.
Yeah.
Dallas Fuel, on the other hand, not worried about a Reinhardt.
Exactly.
Though, that being said, San Francisco does have tanks that can play these kind of characters.
Supposedly, those supers losing all of the Reinhardt fights, so they told him to stop playing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
He gets beat up.
Yeah, those are hard fights.
Yeah,
I played Reinhardt a couple seasons, and man, you can definitely tell when the Reinhardt on the other end is a lot better, and you're like, shit, dude.
Yeah,
he's beating up on me.
Yeah,
but yeah, so we get into King's Row.
Mm-hmm. Baby Bay.
We get to see Baby Bay kind of back in action. I like seeing Baby Bay too.
Back in form. I mean, he used to be the center of the team before Sinatra, right? It was
him and Dante. Yeah,
keep Baby Bay alive and we'll win. That was the whole strategy.
Yeah, because his pick potential is very high.
Yes,
he's getting all kinds of kills.
Yeah,
and we see that going into this because man, they are dominant through not just the first and second point, but through the third one, where we see them triple tank at the very beginning. He's playing Hanzo,
just getting picks constantly.
Yeah, it's crazy to see. I love getting to see Hanzo, and he's notorious for a hit scan player, which is kind of weird to go over to a Hanzo because he's a projectile player. Still in great form, going through all 3 points.
He looks comfortable too.
Yeah, it looks good. It's one of those moments too, where you're not only confident, but you got something to prove, right? You haven't played in a couple matches. He still got it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Dallas Fuel was doing because they make these swaps over to Brogan, and it doesn't really do anything. Obviously, like you had mentioned, they play a lot of Brogan. Maybe that was the problem, but I think San Francisco knew that going into this, and Sinatra switches over to the Brogan as well. Right, he switches over to the Brogan as well, and they just jam through all 3 points. I think 4 minutes left after point 3.
And one thing that's talked about a lot is that Mickey right now is considered the best Brogan in the league. And that plays sort of to his style because he plays Brogan like an off tank. He plays her like a support role, and he focuses on that kind of usability. And remember, he also has OG on his team. So it's like you have these two players who kind of create the environment for Brogan to excel.
Yep.
Whereas Sinatra, when he picks Brogan, he's picking it kind of from the DPS aspect. And even if you watch how he does his positioning, he positions like he's still playing Tracer. Like he tries to get flanks. He'll walk around and kind of play outside of the team. So he's not really the one getting you that healing off the mace, the flail, and all that stuff. He has his own agenda, but he's real good at her combos and stuff like that. So it's cool to see this kind of difference on a character that a lot of people, said didn't require any skill or have any range, X, Y, and Z, right?
Yeah, definitely some different play styles. Agility is kind of the similar play style as Sinatra as well. Yes. He's getting in I saw him at some point getting in the faces of the Hanzos and the McCrees against other teams. It's cool to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they pretty dominant. All 3 points, 4 minutes left. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of time, especially for Kings Row. Long map.
Real long. A lot of turns.
Yeah, because Dallas Fuel, right, they at some point switched to a double sniper. It does nothing. Taimu is kind of quiet all the way through. Yeah. He's kind of the one DPS on the team. And he's kind of got to be the guy that gets the picks because you got Siegel on an off-tank role. You got Brogan. Those aren't the characters that can get those like wide-open picks. You got to have the Widow doing this.
And when Taimu's quiet, you know there's a problem because he's a very vocal person. So
yeah. Not only quiet in just voice, but just quiet in action too.
Yeah.
It's, when he's under stress, man, he's not vocal. It shows because Dallas Fuel. Not only on a defense, on offense struggle.
Yeah.
Did you see him jump? You gotta love him, but he tries to jump off and get a Reaper. God, why can't I remember the alt names anymore? I'm getting old, dude.
Death Blossom.
Yeah, tries to get a Death Blossom on to San Francisco, who's kind of just like waiting there for him. They're like, dude, we see you up there. Baby Bay flashbangs him immediately and kills him, and Dallas Fuel's still kind of waiting back, like, oh shit, dude, he just died immediately?
Yeah.
He died immediately. I don't even think they get through point 2 at all, do they? So
that last fight, though, no, they get through point 3.
Oh, yes,
there's
they do,
that. There's that weird fight.
Yeah, you're right, right.
There's that weird fight where the alt economy lines up where both teams have about like 5 ults each, and everybody misses. Like everybody misses their ult. It's the most. It's almost like what's it called? The Benny Hill. You know that Benny Hill song's like dun, 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 dun. It's like that.
It's kind of like a joke. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a spoof, but they hold it though, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, because I remember Siegel sends in a last-minute dragon. There's like 30 seconds left, and
terrible dragon.
Yeah, just
one of the worst dragons
I've
ever
seen.
seen.
Zarya too at one point, and they just never were able to set anything up.
Yeah.
Because Sinatra is playing on offense. He's playing the Zarya, and they're so dominant. Him and Baby Bay are so dominant. They never have to set up a combo. I think the commentators mentioned this.
Yeah. They just use them. I think at one point they have a one-man Zarya grab that works.
Yeah, it's like, fuck it. We got it, man. Yeah, so we get into Shock take that one pretty handily. We get into Hanamura, which I think you might have
showing out.
Yeah, you might have a win percentage on this one. And I know that Mickey is really good on this map, especially at Gate on Brogan.
Yeah.
Really dominant.
Yes. This is one of Dallas Fuel's better maps.
Yeah, because they're trying Shock on offense originally. Trying this low healing comp, which I kind of like. It's the Lucio Zen, get in there, start fighting. They get 0.1 with 4 minutes left, I think.
For 427.
427. Let's see what else. What else did I put up on here? So Dallas just being the better Brogan comp, right?
Yes.
So they just kind of outweigh San Francisco on 0.2, just able to just kind of fight them down. I think they do end up. Yeah, San Francisco ends up getting 0.2, just not a lot of time left.
Yes. Actually, it's one of those cases where they get stalled out for a bit, but they just use their ults to kind of cap it out.
Oh yeah. So when Dallas goes on offense, they only have a minute difference, but it's crazy going on 2 CP minute can mean life or death, right? Just especially because you have a minute left going into point 1. You're just like, shit, dude, that's not a lot of time. You can only mess up so many times.
Yeah, it's so with they kind of do the same thing where they get that first point and they use the momentum off that first point to get the second one.
Yeah,
and that's something that was cool to watch, which is something you see in Hanamura a lot. If you're able to win that first fight or on that first point without having to use ult, usually it puts the other team in a bad situation because the whole point of second point of Hanamura is you have to get a clean wipe and then fight the respawn. And if you don't do that, you're in a difficult spot. But if you have ult, it's very easy to get a full wipe.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and at one point I think San Francisco tried to force the dive comp for a little while and just chewed up over and over.
Yeah.
By the Burrito and just that anti-dive comp that we see Dallas Fuel playing a lot of.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that minute was a big difference because San Francisco is delayed on their their second attack for almost 2 minutes on point one. Finally,
OGE, man.
Yeah,
He's real good at stalling out.
He is, and we don't see San Francisco get the point until we see a diva bomb come out and get two people. Yeah. And sometimes those are the plays you have to make just to open it up like that because they were just sitting there puttering at point one for a long time. And then Taimu he holds it at point two, gets some picks finally. He looks like he's finally waking up on the Widow on point two.
And they take him out afterwards.
Yep. So, Dallas able to get all 4 points, which is kind of hard on these two CP maps.
Very hard. Hanamura, really difficult.
Yep. 3 is not uncommon. If both, obviously both teams getting point 2, but man, getting all 4, that's pretty good. And I think last week we saw Dallas Fuel kind of do the same thing. They jammed through Hanamura. This is one of their maps, it looks like.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter because on Oasis, it's not one of their maps.
And one more thing to say about that.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of the perfect storm for this matchup since, San Francisco, like we looked at the stats, is known to still want to do that dive. So having them trying to do that dive comp against a team who's really good at their Brogan setup on a map that favors shields, it kind of works in their favor, and they take advantage of that. So that's what we talk about when we say, take advantage of your handicaps when you have the favored, because every map matters.
Yeah, absolutely. So Dallas taking that one, putting it at 1-1, and this looked like a good series going into this one for sure. Getting into Oasis, Baby Babe back in, Architect in, and I like this combo. Don't get me wrong, I love Sinatra a lot, but Architect, especially in the last couple weeks, on fire.
Yeah.
Just killing it. Not only on the Genji, but the Pharah, especially on the first map in Oasis, uncontested the entire time because Dallas brings in AKM because they know Architect generally going to play a Pharah. And he's supposed to be the guy that's, combating this guy. But, dude, he's just killing it.
Yeah.
He's constantly boosted up by the Pharah, or the Mercy, and these direct hits are just destroying AKM. I feel so bad for him because you're like, oh, cool, I'm on McCree. It takes me 100 shots to kill a fucking Pharah out of the air. It feels so bad. The character, rough spot right now.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned they need to give him either a second role or something.
Oh, I mentioned that.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned on our last cast.
Yeah, I would love that. That would be sweet.
Something like that.
Because at one point he did have a little bit less fall off, and he seemed better than Widow. I don't think we need to go back to that point. We don't need to go back to the flashbang with the heavy fan the hammer. Yeah. But he needs something because we got Hanzo maneuverability. He needs something because AKM is forcing this McCree into Architect's Pharah. Yeah. Does nothing the entire time.
It's either you adjust McCree or you put Soldier in a better spot.
Yeah.
We need something because it can't always be Widow.
Yeah, right. Because Soldier is just kind of in that spot where you're like, oh, that he's a good character, good all-around character, but he's not a great character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not like he's not like a Hanzo right now or a Widow right now or even like a Brogan right now.
Yeah, because even the new Hanzo that we have in Ladder,
on live,
on live is still can't really deal with Pharah. The same
unless you're getting a real good Storm Arrow and you get multiple shots on it. Yeah, it's especially Pharah Mercy. Unless there's a Discord involved, real difficult to kill. Yeah. And we see that because Architect, once they get the point, really on, never contested. Yeah. Just he's putting a lot of damage down on him. And we kind of see that in map 2. It just continued. San Francisco just dominant through both maps.
That Shahobin bomb, though, at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, that was sexy.
Yeah, it kind of caught them off guard too, right? They just know where to go.
Yeah, because it's a case where he threw it like over the bridge, but then it also landed between the two doors. So all your escape routes are gone unless you knew where it was, and you don't know where it is because it was going over the bridge. So very. I don't know if he did it on purpose, but it was cute.
Yeah. Do you jump off the side here? You don't even give him the kill, right?
You don't give him the stat line.
Fuck that! I'm jumping off. I don't even think they had enough time to even think about it. Right?
It was a good watch.
Yeah, it was pretty hot. Yeah, that was a Poco bomb.
Yeah,
if I've ever seen one.
Old school Poco bombs.
Yeah. So they pretty dominant through both maps on Oasis.
Yeah.
University being the second map, still punishing Dallas.
Yeah, the only names you see on the right side are Baby Bay and Architect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 110 is the percentage at the end.
Yep. So yeah, we get into Gibraltar, our last map for this set, and still looking good. San Francisco getting into it. Sinatra comes back in for Baby Bay. We see San Francisco start us off on offense. Dallas starts in the very back, which is kind of getting notorious, where you see the defense start on Gibraltar really far back because right, I mean, there's just like there's not a lot you can accomplish, right, unless you're holding them. Yeah, unless you're holding on ladder. Sure, you can hold it under the bridge. People aren't that coordinated. When you have high level play like this and you have some really, really good Widowmakers, just start in the back, and this gives the defense a lot of ability to change, right?
Yeah.
If they see a Brigitte come out, they see a Widow come out, you can, kind of change it up with your second DPS.
And that being said, we see a lot of teams now using that beginning opportunity instead of fighting that bridge fight to do that analysis to say, okay, let me just throw a halt out there and see what happens and see kind of play the field, kind of set up your move.
Right. So they AKM holds under the ship for almost 2 minutes on this Widow, man, just on fire. Right, because San Francisco, they started us. AKM just killing it on the Widow underneath the bridge for sure. I think eventually they do get a 0.2.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, they do because what ends up happening is after they cap the first point, they swap to Brogan. The Brogan comp. Yeah. And that's when AKM starts giving them problems. They stall out at a ship, but they're able to build enough alts and burn those to get that second point.
Right.
Because that's a pretty lengthy brawl. Like, so they capped it pretty quickly, right? So they had about like 3+ minutes, but 2 of those minutes were spent under ship, and then that next minute was a full fight, like one fight, really.
Yeah. And right, 0.3, we just don't see really much out of Dallas. Where they put up a lot of fight in 0.2, and then I guess I don't know, man. Just being down and out, they give San Francisco a lot of time. Going into 0.3 because it doesn't seem like the card ever stops, right? It just keeps rolling through 0.3, and they end up with like 2 minutes left.
Yeah, so that's mainly off the back of the alts too. Because of the struggle. Like if you're struggling, this is general. When you're fighting another team, if you're not killing anybody, you're feeding them alts. So at some point, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass if you don't get it together, and that's kind of what happens here. They never really kill anybody, and then they just use their alts to win the fight out.
Yeah, and especially healer alts too, right? It sucks to do poke damage sometimes, and this is a lot of the reason that some of these characters like Junkrat and Farah didn't get play for a long time is because they did chip away at your life, but if you have a Zenyatta and a Mercy getting in these huge healer alts, those were what win fights a lot of the time. So, Dallas on the offense, get through all points, just not as quick, right? They have maybe a minute left, and that minute difference is pretty big because San Francisco just able to turn around and just hold it under that bridge. Just kind of knocks them off. I think that, Choibin able to set up a really good diva bomb where it's not devastating in the fact that it's going to kill them, but it gets them off the point. Yeah, and we heard them talk about it this week. Zoning alts are a real thing, and it was. And San Francisco comes back around, gets under the bridge real quick, and it's awesome because we got to we get to see Sinatra still play Tracer and
Still one of the best Tracers.
Yeah, and Dallas just not able to contend it because he's still in the back line, and then he keeps a very watchful eye not only on health packs, his blinks, his cooldowns, but he keeps a good eye on Brogan because he knows that's what will put him in his place, and he keeps an eye on Mickey the entire time.
Yeah. And it's the one who ends up killing him, too.
Yeah.
It's funny because he goes around to get higher ground and then jump down, and he fights Mickey on the way down, so by the time he hits the ground, Mickey's at a disadvantage. Stuff like that. Like, it's very strategic, and they follow him the whole fight, which was a smart choice by the observers because you get to kind of see that 3K chain happen.
Yep. Yeah. So, yeah, San Francisco, wrap it up, man, with they're getting all 4 points over Dallas's 3.
Yeah, a good one. I would say that, probably the map of the match is the first one.
Kings Row was kind of rough.
Yeah, Kings Row was rough. But the rest are kind of...
Yeah, Kings Row or Hanamura, for sure.
No, Hanamura. Yeah, you're right. I think Hanamura is probably the map of the match.
Yeah. I don't know. Kings Row, getting to watch old Baby Bay play as Hanzo is worth it.
So good. I can only imagine what he's doing right now on ladder. With that new Hanzo.
Killing it. Yeah, I don't want to run against that, man. That'd be scary.
All right, so we get into our third day, and we start off with Houston Outlaws versus Shanghai Dragons. And we all know how that turned out. One thing we do get to see here is Aaron. Is that how you pronounce it? Aran?
Aran, maybe?
Aran? Yeah. I don't know how you pronounce his name. But we get to see him get some playtime here. A lot of people were confused as far as what was going on. I think it's just a situation where they wanted to give him some experience, and it's against the Dragons, right? If we're going to try to be in that top 3 spot for the playoffs, we need to make sure that we have some other people warmed up. But we take it 3-0, and then we move into the Boston Uprising game. Did you have something to say?
Oh, I was going to say they just this is a gimme week for Houston.
Yeah. We'll take the free ones.
Yeah, absolutely. I would too. Absolutely.
But yeah, we got Boston Uprising versus San Francisco Shock. San Francisco taking this one as well. Probably off some of the momentum against the Dallas Fuel game. So they had a 6-2 week. Not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Not bad at all. And then we get in our feature match this week, which is a team we don't usually do often. Florida. We get Florida
it's been a while.
Versus
It's been a while
Dynasty.
since we've watched Florida, right?
Yeah, and this is an interesting one because no Sire player. Sire player it's 2 things. Sire player currently is going through a shoulder injury that he's working on, and then also they want to go with the Tavik Logic combo to kind of give them the most range they have on the team.
Yeah.
So they're playing with that, and speaking of that range, we get a lot of Doomfist. In this one game, we pretty much get the highest percentage of Doomfist play overall between both Logics and Tavik, right?
Yep.
So let's get into it. We start off with Blizzard World, right? The new Blizzard World. And this, man, you want to talk about... So this is one of those games where the crowd, I think it was pretty much filled, but the crowd wasn't crazy or anything. But chat was on fire because of the upsets going on here. So we have Kuki in the lineup now for Dynasty. And he's a main tank. I don't know what his main tank is. Do you know off the top of your head?
Over Reiner Winston, I don't know his actual main tank.
Yeah.
He looked like he was more experienced on the Winston play because, he's coming in for Miro, who's primarily a Winston player. I'm assuming he plays Winston mainly, Ryan on the side as well.
Okay. Yeah, so we start out here with Dynasty on defense, and they use that standard high ground comp we see on Blizzard World, which consists of Orisa, Diva, Widow, Junkrat, Mercy, and Zen, correct?
Right.
And then we have Florida starting out with that Pharah dive comp, which is your standard dive comp, but you have Pharah instead of Genji, right? Works out all right here. On defense, though, Fled is kind of giving them a lot of trouble. He's getting a lot of picks and makes it very difficult for them to even try to contest the point. And then we have Wakid also on Junkrat here, having some good kills in general, and then he gets a 3K tire that stops really the first true contest they get to have, because a lot of the fights are stopped before they even start, because Flood is getting those picks, right? But then Florida Mayhem also has problem protecting. So this is something that's been consistent, where Zupe and Zebazai, they've kind of had the worst stats among support duos because they just don't get protected. They're either constantly dead, or even when they're trying to do something, they can't. But what happens here is they end up switching to dive comp, the standard dive comp, and they're able to get through that first point after all that trouble. But then we move to point 2 defense, and Dynasty is able to hold. They barely get around that bend close to Pylon Terrorist.
Right.
They never really get there. So then we switch over to, Shanghai. Seoul Dynasty on offense, and this is where it gets weird. So Florida has the 2-1-3, your Brogan Tracer comp on defense, and Dynasty's using their Pharah dive comp. Pretty standard stuff here. And they just struggle. They struggle, and they don't swap at all. I mean, they swap the Pharah, but it's a case where like they're just trying to bang their head against it. And for some reason, Florida Mayhem is getting these picks. What's his name? Manhattan? I always want to say Manhattan.
Manhattan sounds good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Manhattan's doing a real good job of finishing kills here. And it's a case where they never get a really good fight, and they full hold. And I didn't know how to feel. Especially after that last fight. That last fight, I was like, okay, they're going to push through, they're going to win this, they're going to go around the corner, get the quick cap, call it a day. It's kind of a fluke, but they don't.
Yeah, because it seemed like, Florida puttered out, right, on point 2. Just had nothing going on. They struggled on point 1. It's a case in point that if you are not willing to swap or change something up, and the better teams are doing it. Los Angeles doing it. New York does it. Both Los Angeles teams doing it. Damn, Soul, why are you so damn stubborn, man? I don't know why at any point either of these teams don't ever switch to a Ryan Zarya and build up a bunch of auto charge. Easily get in there with a Grav or a high charge Zarya. Neither of these teams do it. It's crazy to watch because I almost wish it was a draw because neither of these teams deserve to win on Blizzard World.
So we have another situation, right? So we move into Hanamura, and it's the same situation where we start out with Florida on offense, right? They stick with the standard dive comp because that's what worked for them to get past that initial stall on the previous map, and then Dynasty uses that high ground comp again on Blizzard World, that you use on Blizzard World. So Wakid has some dope tires here to kind of stop them from capping, and then finally after the final attempt, this is kind of a big brawl. Florida Mayhem make it out the other end. They're able to cap in overtime, and then Tavik swaps to Doomfist. This is the first time we're getting to see the Doomfist from them. And it causes a good amount of trouble for Dynasty at first because he's moving around the map. He's getting picks. He's kind of causing disruption. And off the back of that, they're able to get about 50% of the point capped, which is already impressive. But then they kind of stall out, right? And, like a good team or showing the effects of one, Florida Mayhem say, okay, we're going to swap. So they swap to your Brogan-style comp with Widow as the DPS. And then they're able to full cap with like 19 seconds left. So still a fight, but they're able to pretty much complete the map against Dynasty. But then we get to see Dynasty on. Oh, man. So for this to happen twice in a row is the part that gets me, right?
Yeah.
So Dynasty decides to use this Death Ball comp, which we've talked about in the previous game about other teams using.
Which triple tank, triple support.
Yeah, triple tank, triple support. And Mayhem used the high ground comp, so pretty standard. But for some reason, they never switch off it, and even the commentators are getting kind of frustrated because what's happening is Tavik is busting up this comp. He's constantly either taking out a tank or he's taking out somebody in the back line. And he keeps getting tires because it's a death ball, so he's hitting multiple targets, right? So even the value that they're getting on their end by being in the death ball is being countered by the fact that Tavic's just kind of having a field day. And not only that, Logix is not contested because he's playing Widow and he's able to get into points where there's no dive tanks or anything like that, so they can't get to him, right? So he just does what he wants. So with him putting that damage, with Tavic pretty much getting tires constantly and picking off people, nothing's really happening, and they do not support, right? Or they do not switch here.
Yep. Yeah, pretty like you said. Soul is in the opportunity to switch because obviously they're on offense and they're getting wiped over and over. You're running against the Junkrat, and he gets so much alt charge off of the fact that you have these big bodies on the point that, like, dude, you have to be the team that switches. Like, you're on offense, your spawn's right there. Just fucking switch.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So they do end up, some miracle happens, and this is, I would say, make this the map of the match. I don't know, maybe not. I just want people to see this because. So what ends up happening is there's a fight where Tavic gets a big 3K bomb, right?
Yep.
Puts the fight at a different disadvantage. It should be over here. This is the last attempt.
Oh, I thought it was over.
And then you have the two healers. So you have Ryu Jae-hong and Gambler still alive. And they take out the remaining people by themselves.
Yeah.
And are able to cap it and keep them alive, right? So now you finally get a swap from the Dynasty. Both teams swap to a pure Brogan, your standard Brogan comp, right? But yeah, it's a case they swap and they have no success because they spent all their time on that first fight and they can't get through. And Florida Mayhem stalls them again. Yeah. So a back-to-back full hold from Florida Mayhem, and everybody's shocked. Like, Chad is shocked, the crowd is shocked because this isn't supposed to happen. This is almost supposed to be like a freebie, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, because. This is a team that's supposed to be. I mean, you took the name Dynasty. Shit, be a dynasty. You're poised. I mean, they're poised to be one of the best teams in the league, and mechanically, at the beginning, they are one of the best teams in the league, and they just people catch up to them, right? They just they don't evolve. They're so good on defense a lot of the times that you start to wonder, like, do they even know how to play offense? Because it shows. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's it's definitely not a mechanical skill thing because Fleta easily one of the best DPS in the league. They have really good tanks. They have really good supports in Riju Hong. It seems like a call coach thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we have a 2-0 lead by Florida Mayhem. Definitely a shocker. And then we get into Oasis, and this is where things kind of make a turn, right? So this is the first time in this match, and in a while, that looks like, Dynasty is finally in control of what they're doing. So we get round one. We're in City Center, and Florida Mayhem's using the Widow version of the dive comp, and then you have Dynasty on the Brogan version with Widow. And they get it, initially. So Florida Mayhem get that initial cap, and not until about 47% is Soul able to flip it back. And then from that point on, Fleta has some pretty legit Widow kills, Widow picks, and that kind of holds him out throughout the end, and Dynasty take it.
Yeah.
So then we go into University, which is our second round, and we get to see Logix on Doomfist again, which he's not, he's doing real well on Doomfist. So it's not really a bad thing here. But Dynasty do win that first initial encounter. They get the cap, and then they play real aggressive on Florida, which is a strategy we've seen on University because whenever you're fighting in that middle, it's such an even-keeled fight that it's really hard to push the map in your favor. So you want to push up into that library area to kind of make it more difficult on the other team or force them through a different door the long way around. Yep. And that allows them to get it to about 93% until Florida's able to flip it at Soul's 93%, and afterwards, alt economy, how that works. They just come back with the next fight. Fleta gets a dead eye after people are displaced by Reinhardt, and then Wikid follows with rockets. And that's all she wrote. They get their 2 wins. They close it out real quick. So, I feel like that was a smart play on Dynasty side, right? Because they have these 2 maps that they just got rolled on. You have a control map coming up. You're better at control than Florida Mayhem is. Go ahead and roll them over so you can get that momentum back.
Yeah, this is a map that Florida should have been poised to win, because you shut out Seoul at this point. It looks good for you. Florida has no chance to get into the playoffs.
No.
Not the league, not the stage playoffs, but it still looks better. So obviously Florida's still probably in this learning period.
Yeah.
What they should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing. Like you had mentioned, Logix does really well in the Doomfist, but he does it in the face of a Farah and McCree. These are 2 very obvious counters to him. So it's almost an uphill battle, and I don't think that Florida should have ever put themselves in these positions.
Yeah.
Tavik, in the past, Tavik is one of those guys that is really good at a lot of characters, good at hit scan, good at McCree, good at Tracer, but he's on the Widow, and just it's a suboptimal pick. You don't need to be playing the Widow, man.
Yeah.
This is the map that you need to win. Shut the game down here, and it's over with.
End it.
But they want to see all 5 maps. I guess Sour Patch is calling them up and saying,
Sour
hey,
Patch money.
we need 5 maps out of you guys. And it's like, no one's watching this. It's Florida versus Seoul.
Exactly.
No one cares about these guys anymore.
People are getting snacks.
Yeah, I guess so. So they poised to win, and they throw it away.
Yeah. So we move into Dorado. So it's like, hey, okay, you guys can close. You guys can do this. But they kind of gave that momentum to Seoul. So we start out on point 1. We have Seoul Dynasty on the high ground comp, pretty standard here in Dorado, on defense, and then we have Florida Mayhem using the Widow type comp. It's pretty easy. The first fight, I think there's 1 fight. They get point 1 fairly easy, and then point 2 is the same thing because Logic has this insane Widow 4K chain that, like, throughout the map, it's like he's Spider-Man going from point to point, getting a headshot, getting a headshot, getting a headshot. So the cart just cruises on through. So then we get to point 3 is when they finally see some difficulty, where Dynasty's able to stop them under bridge, because that bridge is very difficult. Either on point 3, it's either you get stopped at that gate or you get stopped under the bridge. Yeah. Those are the 2 spots that are very difficult to come back from. But they do force Logix off of that Widow because of that. Because of there's not really many line of sights there, especially when you're stuck under a bridge. So there's no point in playing Widow. Yep. Swaps to Doomfist. Okay, good swap. And then there's kind of a brawl back and forth, and not until about overtime do they win out a fight, and Mayhem is able to push it through. So they cap it, full cap, awesome, no time on the clock. That's fine. Then we move into point 1 for Dynasty attack. All right, so they do double snipe comp here. You have Florida Mayhem doing the high ground comp, once again, standard on defense. And Dynasty win that first fight handedly. They get a couple picks, and then they cap it, right? And they swap to Brogan right after is what Florida Mayhem does, although it's weird here, right? Because why double snipe is more popular now versus when New York used to play it in earlier stages. Now it's more popular because it deals with Brogan very well, right? She can't flail you if you have 2 snipers, right? And then you can pick off their backline. Everything else is irrelevant, and you just move along. And here you have Florida Mayhem pick into a comp that they're already playing the counter to. Why?
Yeah, it's not like one of those things you start off on. It's they actually switched into a composition that was not beneficial for them.
They put themselves at a disadvantage. It's great because I think we have Monty and Doa comment.
Yeah, little confused, right?
Yeah. And Monty doesn't hold back. And he's like, what are they doing?
Oh, yeah, Monty doesn't hold back. I know this guy from League of Legends streams.
Yeah.
He will roast the shit out of you if you start messing around.
Yeah, it's so good. So, yeah, so needless to say, once they swap into that comp that puts them at a disadvantage, Soul's able to cap again very easily. And then point 3, we have Soul swap to the Widow version of the Broken comp. And they kind of cruise through after that, and they're able to cap with 2 minutes. So then it gives a minute of overtime to Florida Mayhem. So we move into round 2 now. And we have Dynasty on defense first. They're playing the high ground comp. And Florida Mayhem this time is actually going with Pharmacy to try to get through. But, Zupe gets... we talk about the supports again. Zupe gets picked by Tyre, and then they stop right a little bit before Arc. Because they only had a minute. So you have a minute. They already have the issue with the support always getting picked. That happened, and they paid for it here. And Dynasty sees that. They pick double snipe on their attack. And when Florida Mayhem on defense, they're actually doing Brogan here instead of your high ground comp. But the problem is that because they weren't able to push it far enough, they have to play that first corner on defense, and they get steamrolled there. And this is one of those maps where that second point spawn is very far. Or that first point spawn on defense is so far away.
Yeah.
And I don't even think they switched to Lucio to give themselves a better chance of getting back on time. But, they get rolled over, and that kind of wraps it up, and we get a Game 5.
Yeah. It's crazy, actually, that Soul picks a Brogan. Picks a Brogan off the bat, and Logix is punished over and over by it. He's, so stubborn by this thing that they just didn't even have to think about it, but they pick a Brigitte, and it just punishes Logix over and over.
Yeah, it's man, poor decisions here. This is poor decision making that kind of, because it wasn't a case where they were getting just completely outplayed. Logix was playing very well here, and overall, and I mentioned at the end where Zupe died, but Zupe, Monty said that he thinks this was Zupe's best match. Of his career so far. So, I don't know. We move into Nepal, though, to wrap this whole thing up. We start off with Sanctum. We have both teams playing your high ground comp, which we explained before. And, Ryu Jaehong actually shows out here. He's been kind of quiet lately, especially since, his stint of being a tank for a bit.
Yeah.
But
Whose
now he's
idea
back.
was that? Yeah,
now he's back in a support role, and he's kind of getting back into the flow of things. So Dynasty get that first initial cap, and Florida Mayhem's not really able to flip it until about 71%. But Tavik has a huge, 2K tire that kind of gives them momentum, and they keep that momentum throughout here on Sanctum, and they're able to hold it. So once again, they're in a good spot to wrap up this win they're not supposed to have, right?
Yep.
And then we move into Shrine. All right. So Dynasty here is using their Brogan comp with Widow, and Florida Mayhem's your standard 2-2-2, but they're starting with Doomfist. Oh man, if this was University, sure, but on Shrine, I don't know. It's too open, right?
It's way too open.
Yeah.
I don't know, because generally we'll see Fleto on something like the Farah. I'm not sure exactly what he was playing right here, but it seemed like they were running uphill at this point, especially after taking map 2. It seemed like they would win a map, get super confident, and then be like, hey, let's try some screwy stuff for this next one, even though we could win. So I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. Logic's on the Doomfist. Insane.
It's a European thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Florida
we won. We can do whatever we want. Yeah.
So Florida Mayhem do get the initial cap here, right, to start off strong, and they hold it to about 74%. And then we have Soul flip it there. And once again, when we talk about bad decisions, is Logic swaps to Farah, but Fleta is already playing McCree.
Yeah.
And he's playing McCree very well right now. So, as you would guess, it goes poorly. Fleta just starts fragging out. He gets a 2K chain on the Pharmacy combo. He gets a couple ults here and there, and Dynasty are able to take this round. We just talked about, you picked Doomfist, which was already we thought was questionable. You're able to hold it to 74% with that comp. Either stick with it or switch to something else that's going to give you more of an advantage.
Right.
But don't pick into a counter again. Poor decision making.
Yeah, it was crazy. Actually, that flank that Fleta did make on Soul, it was down to the wire. This is a chance where Florida's trying to come back to the point.
Yeah.
And there's not much percentage left, and he just sneaks all the way around. But they had sights up. They know exactly where he's at. Comes all around, kills Pharmacy.
So weird.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, so we have Village. Which, okay, you're going to let Dynasty play their death ball.
Yeah.
And they try to play Reaper here. So it's one of those when we haven't seen a Reaper this whole match. So why are you trying new things in a situation where you need to close it out? Go with your vanilla. Go with something that you know can work. It's going to give you the best opportunity. Don't try to get cute here. It's like on Ladder, right? Where you're steamrolling a team and then you end up in round 2 and people start picking Symmetra and Torb. And you're like, why not just pick the characters we used to win originally?
Yep.
Adam. And they just get rolled. Dynasty rolls over Florida Mayhem here. They get the initial cap, and Florida Mayhem never flips it. Fled is really good on Roadhog here, and Ryu Jae-hong is fragging out like the Ryu Jae-hong you remember. And it ends up being 100-0%, and they win it. They reverse sweep. Crazy. This map, map of the match, I don't even know here. The first one. Watch the first one because that's the one that kind of sets the weirdness of this whole thing.
Right. I mean, there's not a lot for Florida to win here, right? They're obviously out of the stage playoffs. They're out of the final playoffs. But this is a good opportunity to not only practice things. I guess with the Doomfist and stuff like that, they are practicing things that they might be going forward. But this is a chance to take a map off Soul. Don't let Soul in the playoffs. Who gives a shit? You know? I mean, you might not be playing for victories, but don't let these guys take some money off you. I don't know. Just crazy to see.
Yeah.
I mean,
interesting indeed.
Florida going into this at 6 wins and 29 losses. Damn, man, just get the 7th win. Who cares?
And then we get in our final day. This was the crazy one, which I wish I watched. I'll probably go back and watch it, though. Is the Dallas Fuel London Spitfire game. Dallas
this
Fuel
is crazy.
Taking it.
I thought I read this wrong at first. It's like, oh, yeah, this can't be right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
3-1.
Crazy.
And then we have Florida Mayhem coming against my boys, and we took that 3-1. So we take it where we can get it. You know, we had this is our easy week, which I hope we're practicing our map 5 in this time frame. Kind of shore up our playability, and then we hit into our top division seed battle. So we have the current number 1 Atlantic team, NYXL, versus the current number 1 Pacific team, Valiant. Oh man, that crowd is crazy. This one's probably sold out, if I believe.
Oh yeah,
if I believe.
Yeah, especially on like a Saturday evening.
Yeah,
you got a big headliner like this.
Yeah, this crowd was nuts. But we'll just hop right into it. We start off with Blizzard World. We have Onimo in, which I think is so. New York has pretty much been a lock for number 1 seed. They got the bye, everything. Makes sense that they're giving Arc a break, letting him kind of rest because Onimo's more than capable.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially going into the playoffs and the last couple of weeks in the Stage 4. Yeah, just give your guys a break because a lot of these teams have reported that they feel mentally exhausted. I don't know how what's his name got a shoulder injury playing racket. Saya guy. It's like, what are you doing, man? You're just playing Overwatch. How did you hurt your shoulder? Whatever.
I'm a programmer, and I don't let my hands get anywhere near anything dangerous, and I just don't want
to deal
with that.
Just cut up onions in your time.
I don't cut my own food anymore.
Because
it's my livelihood.
Come in, we have
Onimo in the starting lineup. So we have NYXL starting off an attack here for point 1. They're using your standard dive comp, and they're going against Los Angeles Valiant, who's using the broken high ground comp. So it's just that variation of it. So on attack here, you pretty much get to the point where it's a final attempt, and NYXL has a surgical kill on LAV. And when I say surgical, I mean it's kind of like picking off people as they progress. And then they're able to swap to the double snipe comp, which they're known for, right? Would you say they were the first ones to really start using it?
They were definitely one of the first people that we saw a consistent Hanzo. Because Libero obviously in the past had some Hanzo experience. Not many people do. But yeah, definitely one of the first people that kind of coined the double sniper.
Okay. So yeah, they go double snipe. We have a Valiant swap to their broken comp with Widow here as their DPS. and they have trouble here. NYXL actually has trouble, and they stall around like the pylon terrace, which is your usual stall point. But then SBB and Jonak are able to get some legitimate kills here, some crucial ones to get them past that stall point. And then point 3 is just a roll. SBB and Liberal, I don't think miss a shot on the double snipe comp. Like they're both just their names are constantly on the list as they're moving it through. So they're able to wrap it up in full overtime, which is impressive from the defensive side. I mean, to force NYXL to do a full cap in overtime is beyond an accomplishment. And then we move into Los Angeles Valiant on attack. So they use their standard dive, and NYXL use the high ground comp. So this is kind of what we're used to from previous stages. But Liberal here is on a roll. So they kind of carry, like him and SBB carry that same momentum from how they ended on attack. And Valiant is unable to contest at all. They just can't break through, and they wrap it up before it even gets started.
Yeah, it seemed like almost a 5v6 because soon a little quiet on this one. Just not a lot going on there. I think he's forcing the Tracer kind of over and over, and SPB, it's kind of hard to hit that little hitbox, and he does a couple of times.
Yeah.
So
we move into Horizon Lunar Colony, and this is one of the cases where this is definitely one of these matches where it feels like NYXL is giving Valiant's wins instead of them taking it. Not that Valiant is bad. It's just that NYXL makes some questionable decisions here.
I was going to bring this up actually at the end of this match, but it seems like New York is fishing for strats. Obviously, we talked about that New York has already sewed up their spot in the playoffs as number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Not a lot to worry about going forward. Whatever. They get another stage playoff win. Whatever. It's another 100K in the back. It seems like they're going for the long-term plan to figure out, because LA, probably one of the teams they'll be going against in the major playoffs. Why not just try to fish out some of the strats?
Yeah.
New York is so good, easily the best team.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. Why not try to fish out some of these strats of LA? But yeah,
and
like I said.
That's a good point. One of the commentators mentioned that they think that NYXL uses so much dive here, even though it's unadvised or ill-advised, because they don't want to show anything.
Why? Yeah, I mean, why give anything up at this point?
Yeah. But, yeah, we get to see some stubbornness out of them here. They start off attack first. They use a single heal Sombra comp, which we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, Jonak on the old Sombra.
Exactly. Man, definitely questionable. And then we have Valiant using the broken comp with Widow as their DPS. They finally get to a point after like 1 or 2 fights where NYXL does swap back to standard, your standard dive, but then they never swap off of that. And they struggle the whole time, which leads to Valiant having a full hold. Very interesting. And then we swap to attack for Valiant, where they use that single heal dive comp. They don't use the Sombra, though, which is a good choice. Yeah. And NYXL do use that standard high ground comp. SBB here has a moment. Like, he's killing it here. He's getting some crucial picks to keep the fights uneven. But then there's a point where they just wait too long to contest the point. Because remember, NYXL didn't get more than a tick. So they only need 1 tick to win. And they play that left-hand side so heavily that until it gets almost about like 1% close to it, do they jump on point? But they're all out of position, and then Agilities has a 2K blade waiting for them, and LAV is able to take it.
Yeah, they wait so long, actually, that Jonak is forced to trans them onto the point, and Agility sees this as a huge opening for this blade.
If you guys can watch this, go watch it, because there's a funny point where it's silent for a minit because Monty and Doa just stop commentating, and Monty's just like, get on the point.
Yeah. Actually, it kind of like is one of those. What do they say when you're at war and at PTSD when it comes back to ladder? You're like, oh shit, get on the point, dude. What are you doing?
Just get on the point.
Yeah.
Very funny. Chat was enjoying how frustrated Monty was with what NYXL was doing.
Yeah, it was funny.
Playing on the edge. But yeah, so Los Angeles Valiant take it, so we now have a 1-1. We move into our control map, and we know NYXL is real good at control, and they show it here. We had Big Boss come in.
Yeah, no joke, dude.
Big
he
Boss
definitely
Pine.
came in.
Happy to have him back in it, man. Like he can't go anywhere. The league owns him. Like he can't retire. He can't leave the team. Just give him as much money as he wants.
Yeah, looks like he's having fun too.
Oh yeah, he's having fun again. And then we have Janice coming from Mono because Janice being the more aggressive version, you want that on control maps.
Yep.
So classic stuff here. We start with City Center with NYXO playing their double snipe comp. You know them for it. We have Valiants playing that broken comp with Widow as their DPS. And NYXO get the initial cap and never give it back.
Yeah, not only never give it back, they also never die. There's 0 kills at the end of this one.
0 kills for Valiant.
Yeah,
100%
I don't even
0.
know. Yeah, this is one of those games on ladder where you're just like, oh, you just the easy GG comes out there. You're just like, oh, this one's over. Yeah.
The other part of it is there's a great clip here, and I don't want to say this is map of the match, but watch this one, is because Janice, the way he kills Soon in traffic.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good because Soon never gives up trying to come back. If I'm on the other end, I'm like, yeah, fuck that, dude. I'm dying over here.
Yeah, he keeps coming back, and it's just like knocks him back again. And the funny thing about just in general is Soon loves that side of the map. If you ever see him on City Center, no matter who he plays, if he's on McCree, if he's on Tracer, he loves hanging out on that side of the map.
Yeah, feels comfortable over there.
Yeah, so that's just a good laugh there. And then we get into Gardens where, NYXL still shows them who's boss. They actually start out with Pharmacy here, which, Pharmacy is great here. And then Valiant use the broken comp with Widow because you need something to deal with that Pharah. And we've talked about how McCree and Soldier are just in a weird place right now.
Yep.
NYXL is able to flip it, although Valiant get that initial cap. They get it to about 39%. But then Liberal and Pine are just too difficult to deal with. Liberal on Widow, Pine on Widow, Liberal on Pharah, just giving them too much trouble. And Animo is real good at keeping Liberal alive when he's on Pharah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. NYXL take Oasis. I mean,
pretty dominant there, man.
Yeah.
It was insane to see.
They're real good at control.
Yeah.
So then we move into, so we have a 2-1 right now. We move into Gibraltar.
I'm sorry, this map is a joke. Because NYXL seems like they clearly have won already at this point until they get to point 3. I'll let you give us the spiel, but Jesus.
Yeah, they're trying to see what they can get away with. I have the mark here where like the overall theme of this is don't play with your food. We have Mono come back in for Janice. And we start off with NYXL on attack, using the double snipe comp. Once again, Valiant on Broken with Widow. So, they're keeping it consistent as far as compositions here.
Yep.
Nothing crazy really comes out. This isn't like a Gladiators match. You're not going to see a bunch of crazy characters. But yeah, so we get, NYXL get a few picks, and they are able to cap point 1 very easily. And then we have on defense for point 2, we have Valiant swapping to that Widow dive version of the comp. But then NYXL is easy to cap again. They just keep sticking with the snipe comp, and they get their picks. So they get point 2 with 5+ minutes. Plenty of time, right? You have Liberal and Pine causing a bunch of trouble, except Pine starts to get real memey. Yeah,
it's insane.
He does this cool thing though. So he goes around the back side, the left-hand side from the attack point of view, and jumps on the rocks, slides off, and then hooks up behind, and then gets a flank like on the back, but doesn't kill anybody. He just dies. It just looks cool, and then he does it again.
I don't even know what you accomplish by getting back there. Maybe you get a pick before somebody turns around. It's still cool to see.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
but it's like, what do you do afterwards?
Yeah, you're stuck because you've already grappled. Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's so funny.
It's a cute idea, but in retrospect, it just doesn't work out.
This is actually one of those switch situations we talked about earlier where you see the double sniper come out, and Los Angeles is like, fuck it. We're not going to try to contest it with anything. Yeah. We'll just put up this Rhine shield. And they hold them for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So
They hold them for 5 minutes. Yeah, they get like a shatter bomb combo to stall the cart, and then Space follows up with a bunch of. Space is real good at stalling and picking people off. Then he gets the 3K chain, so they never really get another attempt after those two goofy because they burned all their momentum, right?
yeah. Yep.
So then we switch to Los Angeles Valiant, and they use the Widow dive comp initially on their point one, and NMIXL sticks with that double snipe. And, Valiant have some trouble, but then they end up burning their ults to get that first point, which I thought would lead to them having trouble on point two, but Agilities kind of carries them through with some pretty impressive 3K, or pretty impressive kill chains. Allowing them to continuously move that cart. So they finished with reasonable amount of time as well. Then soon in Space, they're kind of the people that carry them through the end. Because NYXL did not just finish the map,
Yeah.
Valiant are able to get a couple good fights here with Soon in Space, making some key kills here, and then they just wrap it up and they put them into map 5.
Yeah, did not see this one coming, especially going into point 3 for New York's attack. You're like, oh, dude, 5 minutes, easy.
Yeah.
Easy finish this one. More of let's get some clips on the Widowmaker for Pine kind of thing going on.
Yeah. So now this is the map of the match. It's the final one of the week.
This one's a good one.
Oh,
man, the crowd
let me
is
take a sip of
the crowd
water.
is definitely hyped for this one because it felt like not only the energy level, the volume of just the people in the building went up really high.
But yeah, so on Nepal, so we got SBB coming back in for Pine, but everybody made the joke that they immediately traded Pine or fired him after he decided to be a meme.
Yeah.
But no, he was just having a good time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Los Angeles Valiant, they do your Death Ball comp, but they use Reaper here. So you still have the two supports, and then Reaper kind of on the back end. And then NYXL's on the Pharmacy comp, which that naturally spells trouble. NYXL traditionally does really good against Death Ball comps here. So them being good on control and being good against Death Ball comps, it just puts Valiant on the back foot here. They do get the initial cap, but then NYXL immediately flips it at about 20% and never really give it back. Valiant do kill Mono with Primal up, but then they forget to get on point, so they miss their opportunity to flip it back. So this is the one chance where that would have been a great point for them to get the momentum back and the way the spawns were lined up, but they completely botch it. So you have NYXL winning that first round about 100% to 47. Then we move into Sanctum, which is our round 2 here, where Valiant take it. You have NYXL using that high ground comp that we're used to seeing here, and then Valiant. I thought Valiant was going to use the same comp, but they end up going the ball and chain route, right? Because you can essentially hook people around, and Hog is real good here.
Oh yeah.
But NYXL get the initial cap, and Valiant immediately flip it at 10%. And then after a few fights, it kind of goes back and forth where they're both playing different edges of that cap or the control point, and you have Valiant flipping it back, or NYXL flip it back at about 69%, and then Liberal gets a 2K tire on the supports that keeps that momentum. And then you have Space able to get a Hog 2K, but at that point it's interesting because he gets the kill, but he's the last one alive, but he's too low to be exposed, and his gas can thing's not up, so he can't actually cap the point. So then when Valiant are finally able to flip it, NYXL just stalls it out. Agilities gets a 2K tire, and they win that round. It's very weird. It's like they should have won it earlier, and Space did play a big part in delaying it enough to get him to that point.
He was definitely killing it.
Oh yeah, this is why this is map of the match. Is just there's a lot of back and forth here, and then we move into Shrines, where so we have Valiant get that initial cap. They have a huge ult economy too. So at about 43%, Space has this bomb. 2K bomb that prevents that first NYXL real fight. And there's only one point where they're able to flip it, which is around like 85%, where Libero has a pretty good barrage here. And they talk about it, how Libero's surviving these fights he shouldn't be surviving. Like, he gets a barrage and is able to live afterwards, right? But after a while, LAV had that huge momentum at the beginning that they're able to flip it at 99% and win the whole thing, and it's crazy. This is a real good match.
Yeah. Like I said, the volume is definitely up on this one too, because the fans are just, kind of beside themselves, I'm sure, at this point, because, community predictions going aside, I'm pretty sure everybody thought New York was going to win this
handedly.
Yeah. Crazy to see LA to win it at home. This is kind of a matchup I kind of see going forward, going to the playoffs.
You think this is the end all be all?
I think so. The LA team's looking really good right now. I don't know who a clear fourth is right now. Is it London? Is it Houston? Is it Philly? I don't know. Obviously, New York being in the number 1 spot, who's the number 4 spot?
Yeah.
So
I'm just hoping we get like 3rd place.
Yeah.
I'm being realistic.
Yeah.
But if somebody upsets NYXL, that would be crazy and would mix up the whole playoffs, which could be dope. So that's it. I think that's it for the week, man. It was a good week. It
was definitely very solid, especially going into the playoffs.
Yeah,
man, it was cool to see.
Yeah, and even our honorable mentions were solid games. Even the ones that we didn't get to watch, I've heard about or watched clips. So to wrap it up, did you have anything else on your mind?
No. Aside from New York is obviously the most dominant team in the league. It's cool to see them, and I'm sure over the next 2 weeks we will see more of them just kind of figuring out what teams going into the playoffs. Because this is a team that obviously just wants to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
And when they were interviewed and they said, when they asked what do they really want out of this whole thing, the stage playoffs don't mean anything to them.
Yeah.
They are here to win the whole thing, and they want to capitalize on not only the mistakes but the strategies of the other teams. They want to come to the very end knowing what other teams are going to go against them.
Exactly.
And we've seen them in the playoffs. They are insane in the playoffs. Yeah. You know what I mean?
They're ruthless.
I can't imagine. And the commentators had mentioned this.
Shenanigans in the playoffs.
Yeah, no. You go into 0.3 for 5 minutes, they're going to take it.
Yeah.
The commentators have mentioned that if the New York Excelsior want to win the map, they're going to win that map.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's up to the LA teams to upset them.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see going into this one.
Yeah. So the only thing I have to say is, if you're still a naysayer about Brogan, you're being cynical.
Yeah.
You're not watching what's happening. You're not paying attention, because I'm starting to think she's one of the best things that's happened to Overwatch, because we've had a lot of characters come out, right? We've had Moira come out, we've had Doomfist come out, and those characters didn't have an impact on the game.
Not a huge one, no.
Yeah, not a huge one as Brogan does, because she's essentially, if you look at the stats as far as pick rates, as far as the compositions that are being picked, it's getting real balanced real quick, where there's no one win be all situation, and there's a lot more swapping and adjusting that's going on now.
Yeah, this isn't strictly a dive comp meta anymore.
Yeah.
This is, like you said, there's a lot of possibility in a lot of different comps.
Yeah, and I think that, in my mind, is just accentuating the essence of Overwatch, is that the fact that you switch characters on the fly, the fact that you can be dynamic and change your strategy to ensure the best outcome, or what you think is the best outcome. Look how much Doomfist we saw in the Florida Mayhem game, and it worked. They did well. So yeah, I like that she's out. They're adjusting her a little bit by bit. I hope they don't. I'm happy they didn't just take a huge nerf hammer to her, because she is important, and we're going to see that, and I think it's going to make for a great end to the season.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Hanzo might be a problem.
Yeah, on ladder, even with his newest
gosh,
reduction in Storm Arrow,
yeah,
still very good.
It's a problem. We haven't seen pros with it yet, and we see what pros are doing right now with pre-buff Hanzo. Yeah. Oh boy, just seeing Baby Bay this week, that's a clear example of this might be.
Yeah. Oh, and I played very early McCree in the first couple seasons, and Fan the Hammer was it was good.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but the fact that Fan the Hammer could not headshot, but Storm Arrow can, is insane because, man, you only need 2 of those arrows to really connect, man. Yeah, it's a really good ability, turns out. Quit complaining about fucking scatter arrow. This one's the good one.
Yeah. So yeah, you guys know where to reach us. We're gonna keep it short here. We've been long-winded these last 2 episodes. We're trying to get you guys some more information on these matches. Try to be a little more robust. But yeah, reach out to us on Gmail, the Birdwatchers Podcast at gmail.com, and you can find us on all the social networks. Follow us. Reviews. If you guys can leave us, something simple, just leave a couple stars. You don't have to add any descriptions. It helps kind of get the word out. We appreciate all the people that talk to us on the competitive Reddit. It's always good stuff. That community is growing as well. I think we're already at 166,000, and we were at like 150,000 not that long ago. So it's growing, man, and people are coming over from the casual to the real stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and just thanks for listening.
Yeah,
man. That's awesome.
As always. So we'll catch you next week, people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Deuces.
I have destroyed more of your kind than I can count.
You weren't given those guns to toss them around like